Namaste. My name is Jeevan Rai. I'm from Kotang, Eastern Hills of Nepal. I work for a local conservation grassroots organization called Nature Conservation Study Center. I am a wildlife biologist, so mostly it's conducting research in wildlife, especially in the hills of Nepal, conducting outreach, conservation awareness programs for wildlife conservation in the communities of Nepal, and trying to network with like-minded people and organizations for conservation of wildlife in Nepal. Directly sighting a wildlife when you're out in the field is very fortunate, but if you don't spend a lot of time in the field, you will miss a lot of wildlife. So the solution is to put camera traps in the field. What a camera trap does is that whenever an animal passes through the camera trap, it automatically detects it and captures an image of the wildlife, so you don't have to be in the field 24 hours to record the wildlife. This is also an indirect and non-invasive way of studying animals because you are not there, so the wildlife won't feel your presence. Basically a camera, but it traps the wildlife, not in a traditional way, but in a good way. Like you get an image of the wildlife when it gets trapped. In 2018, we were trying to put camera traps in the hills of Nepal, Tinjuri Milki Zalzala landscape. It's also the rhododendron capital of Nepal because we get more than 20 species of rhododendron in that area. What we suspected was, since that forest is so dense and so good forest, we thought it's a good habitat for small carnivores, and we're hoping that we would get binturong, mm, a species that had not been recorded for more than 100 years in Nepal. So we put camera traps, hoping that apart from getting other small carnivores, we would get binturong. Unfortunately, we didn't capture binturong in our camera traps, but even then we got very good results. We captured Asiatic golden cat. That was the second photographic evidence of Asiatic golden cat from Nepal. We also captured red pandas. Even the locals were saying that the red pandas have gone extinct locally in that area. We also were able to capture leopard cats. We also were able to capture yellow-throated martins, and it was a pretty good camera trapping. Even though we failed to capture our primary target, it was still a good camera trapping research. Yeah, sure. For example, after we captured Asiatic golden cat in TMZ, few organizations have started conservation initiatives in that area targeting Asiatic golden cat. It's very important that we know what species occur in any landscape, because without knowing which species are present in the landscape, conservation organizations like ours, they can't really initiate any conservation interventions, and that makes it hard for us to convince local government and the central government to go there and start conservation activities. And it's also a very vital process of initiating any conservation or protected areas in Nepal or in any other parts of the world. It is one of those landscapes where there has been very few resources in Nepal. Um, Previously, when we were putting camera traps very close to those areas, we got some really good findings. Large tooth ferret basser, which has not been recorded very often in Nepal, had been captured in that camera traps. And when talking to locals, they were saying there were a lot more species in that area, such as red panda, Asiatic black bear, and leopards. And we are hoping that since it's a landscape that has never been camera trapped before, we are going to get a lot more new information about biodiversity in that area. Since it's a landscape that connects two protected areas, we are hoping that with our research we can generate hard evidences of the biodiversity riches that the forest has, so that we can convince and we can work with local government to get conservation interventions in that area. It puts peace in my mind when I know that I'm working for conservation, and that my contribution, however small it might be, is stopping some species from extinction. The thought that some species that had evolved for millions and billions of years might go extinct just because we didn't do anything troubles me a lot. So that's why I work for conservation and wildlife.